In Divergent, several psychological and sociological themes can be observed. In this video, I will be focusing on Charles Horton Cooley's social psychological concept of the looking glass self. This concept states that a person's self-perception is produced from a person's social interactions with others. We reflect what we think others see in us. The film revolves around factions, which are societal divisions that classify citizens based on their aptitudes and values. The protagonist, Tris, takes a psychological test to determine what faction she truly belongs to, but gets inconclusive results. She chooses Dauntless and leaves her abnegation life behind. Coming from a faction like Abnegation and going into a faction like Dauntless, she had many troubles. At the beginning, she was nearly failing and ranked very low among the other initiates. The looking glass self can be applied to Tris's upbringing, her self-concept, and how that affected the way she was failing to do well in initiate training. Until transferring to Dauntless, she lived her entire life as Abnegation, which meant that she was raised to be selfless, quiet, opposed to violence, and to live a modest and simple lifestyle. All her life, she wore gray clothing, kept her hair in a neat bun, and ate a plain plant-based diet. Everyone around her, her friends and family, were the exact same. Everyone expected her to be like everyone else and saw her to be that way. According to Cooley's theory, if others around you look at you to be, for example, smart, you are likely to project that image whether it holds true in reality or not. Applying the concept means that she saw herself to be selfless, quiet, and ordinary, like everyone thought she was, whether or not that was really her nature. None of that was truly her nature, as she was tested to be divergent, not just abnegation. Her abnegation roots and the social norms she grew up around led her to an initial failure in Dauntless despite her willingness to do well. Throughout training, Four, a trainer for transfer initiates, watched her closely. Four noticed the potential in Tris that no one else did. What everyone else saw was a stiff who would never be as good as the others, but what Four saw was a girl with determination. After watching her continuously fail, even though she was trying her best to do well, he decided to help her whether it was directly or through small actions. He showed kindness to her despite his seemingly rude demeanor and encouraged her through giving her opportunities to keep improving. This led to Tris and Four creating a tight bond, as he continued to help her in small ways and she continued to grow. This relates to Cooley's looking glass self because Four gave Tris an unexpected support system, and with his help, Tris discovered her own true potential to succeed. Tris and Four had also developed a strong trust, which is shown when he lets her into his fear landscape, thus revealing his deepest fears and secrets. Four's sincere faith and trust made an impact on her, and it manifested a whole different belief in herself that reflected the ways Four perceived her to be. As Tris improved, she caught the attention of others. A typical abnegation girl was doing unexpectedly well. She had passed the physical part of training and excelled in the mental aspect. She passed initiate training, which was a great feat that not just anyone reached, and becoming officially Dauntless made most people finally validate her. At this point, her abnegation past was completely left behind, and everyone knew she was someone who held real skills and truly belonged to the faction. She now knew that this was the place she belonged and she would thrive there and be able to accomplish big things. Tris went on to do exactly that. When the Dauntless were put into mind control by the Uridite and were ordered to execute all abnegation, Tris, who was not affected, went on to stop the operation before it killed her old faction and her current faction from becoming senseless murderers. This is all representative of the looking glass self because Tris believed in herself enough to do something as monumental as saving the abnegation and Dauntless people. Although a result of her own confidence, the validation she had gotten from others had affected such. Everyone believed in her capabilities, and like the looking glass theory states, we see ourselves the way we think others see us. As you can tell, the looking glass self affects us all, even people like Tris who have a great amount of self-determination. Tris proves that our self-image is formed as a reflection of the way we think others in our social surroundings perceive us and can greatly impact our lives.